Hello and welcome to the next episode of Blaming Translators, the first live talk show about translation and translators. My name is Elena and with me today is my friend and co-host Dmitry Kornikhov. Hello, Dmitry.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Elena.
Yesterday was Dmitry's birthday, so I decided to prepare a surprise for him and make him the hero of this very special Blaming Translators episode. But the surprise, that's not the only surprise. The next surprise, and I think it's even a better one, is that I asked all our past guests to prepare questions for Dmitry. So we'll get back to those questions in a minute. But first, I will take advantage of my position as a co-host and want to ask you when you guessed that you're going to be the hero of this talk, of this interview.
So thanks, Elena. Thank you for this surprise blab. I kind of guessed it today when you sent a reminder email for our mailing list. In your reminder, you mentioned that the hero of our today's episode is a male and he's a freelance translator and entrepreneur. And I kind of connected the dots because yesterday was my birthday and the guest is the male, and we don't have very many male translators in our industry, so I kind of guessed it, but I didn't know that you actually told our previous. Well,
I wasn't the only one who was preparing this, and I just want to thank everyone who sent me the questions beforehand and everyone who joined us today. I hope you guys will call in. I'll say just a couple more words. The funny thing is that almost no questions repeated themselves. So almost all questions were different, and I would divide them in three categories. One big category is questions about your work, your business as a translator. People are interested to know a lot of things about that. The next category is, of course, the open mic. And the third category, I would call it more personal questions and probably some questions connected with your vision and future. So I suggest that we probably could start with work-related questions, then move to the open mic questions, and then to personal questions. What do you think about that? Yeah?
That works for me.
Okay, great. I will just, so, just a second.
Looking for questions?
Yeah, I'm sorting the questions right now a little. So the first one, the first work-related question will be from Lydia Pilar. She unfortunately couldn't join us today. She sent me the questions. So she'd like to know: have you ever worked on a project that made you suffer but made you really proud of yourself when you finished it?
Well, I kind of suffer on every project because every project is different and it's difficult, you know. And especially in my field of expertise, I work in video game localization, and I have never seen the two identical video games. So every project is a challenge, and every time I work on a new game, I have to rediscover myself. I have to rediscover my skills. I have to learn a whole bunch of new things. For example, today I'm learning a lot about spaceships and tanks. Tomorrow I will be learning a lot about cowboys and wild west. So every single project is in video game localization is a huge challenge, and I kind of suffer because not every client understands how the translation process works. So I have a lot of clients who prepare like very detailed instructions, and you just have to follow them. But the hardest part of I think every freelance translator's business is client communication, and like every single project, you need to be prepared to ask questions. You need to be prepared to do a thorough research. You need to be prepared to do research on terminology and stuff like that. But if we go back to our question, I can't really think of any project right now that would make me suffer. But made me a better translator. And I think every project is difficult, and it kind of makes you better. At the end of every project, you kind of a different person, really, like a different kind of translator, especially in the creative field.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what is the project that you're most proud of?
Wow. It's really, I'm proud of all my projects, really.
That's
There's no
great.
shame. I love every single project because all of them are so different, and you can't really pick your favorite one. I guess mm, I worked on a couple of video games that I actually enjoyed playing myself, and I was really happy that I get to and I got an opportunity to be a translator for those video games because I actually a gamer myself. So when you enjoy something so much and then you love doing it, like playing video games, and you are able to contribute to the development of the game and the promotion on other markets by translating it, I think it's a great gift, really.
Mm.
So every single project is a lot of fun, and I love them all.
I'd say it's a great thing when you're proud of all your projects. It means that you pick your clients very wisely.
Well, I mean, it's not always been this way, you know.
Yeah.
It was a long process because I used to work as an in-house translator when I was just starting out. I was working at a translation company as an in-house translator. So and basically I was working in the basement because the office was located in the basement, so no sun, artificial lighting, and you have to translate everything that lands on your desk. And sometimes you have to work on something very boring or something that's outside of your scope of skills or abilities, like very technical texts or something very complicated with complicated terminology like legal texts or medical texts. So when I was working in this translation agency, uh, I had to learn what kind of area I'm really passionate about, and I just realized that I love creative texts and texts that have some storytelling parts in them. So I decided to slowly focus on, slowly switch to something more creative, like video game localization or like marketing text and stuff like that. But it was a very long process. It takes years to really figure out your field of expertise and to be able to understand what kind of translator you want to be. So it's a very long process, and you just have to figure out on your own by doing a lot of stuff you don't like.
Good for you that you got that figured out.
Well, I'm still trying to figure it out. I think it might take a few more years before I can fully call myself a translator who specializes in video games only. Because sometimes I do have other clients, not who are not related to video game industry. Uh, uh, every now and then I can translate some technical manual stuff like that on different devices. For example, uh, a few months ago I was working on a translation for a company that sells heaters for houses. So it was completely different from what I normally do, like creative translation. But I challenged myself to accept this project, and every project, every like Steve Wittek said in our previous episode of Blab and Translators, that every translator's gotta have this ability to translate pretty much anything, but he only has to be able to be good at certain areas. But sometimes you gotta give yourself a challenge and think outside of your scope, if it makes
That's
sense.
for sure. It does. Another question from Lydia. Do you have anything, an object, for example, you couldn't work without? Of course, computer doesn't count.
Well, I cannot work without my chair, my table.
Yeah.
Does it count?
Yeah, sure.
I cannot work without my cat. although she's not an object, she's a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's brings a lot of fun.
Cats make everything easier.
Where is she? I wish I could show her.
Katerina Sakani has prepared a bunch of work-related questions, and I see that Katerina is here today. Would you like to call in? We should probably unlock the seat for that.
Oh yeah, so we had someone was trying to call in some sort of a
okay, great
spammer.
We're having our first guest calling in.
Yay! This is happening.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Katerina.
Hi, Katerina.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm glad I've been able to make it because I'm just back from my interpreting jig in Cologne. Just in time to join you guys.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect timing.
Yes, I wanted to ask Dmitry a few work-related questions regarding his customers, his clients. Dmitry seems to be very successful in marketing his translation service to end clients in the gaming industry. So correct me if I'm wrong, Dmitry.
Well, kind of yes and no. I have a combination of clients.
I can't hear.
Some agencies.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, how do you market your services to your end clients? I mean, do you attend trade shows? Do you do a lot of networking? Have you ever tried out any direct mailing or something like this? Or you also have a very good website, I saw. So if you just want to share a few of your tricks with us about marketing your services to your dream clients.
Thank you so much for calling, Katerina. It's very nice to have you here. And a very good question. I guess I don't really have like a game plan for marketing to my end clients. I really like connecting with clients on a kind of like on personal level and by reaching out to them directly. So most of the clients I get, I just send them an email. I try to follow industry news on different channels like on Twitter or on Facebook, or read articles about new upcoming video games, and I just kind of figure out a way how to contact a certain company or person in that company and just send them an email. I try to be very casual because that's how I just want to be. I don't want to be the kind of person who tries to sell his services at the first email. I just trying to establish a connection first and then kind of work my way into offering my services. Maybe sometimes I even offer to translate something for free, like a description for a video game on Apple Store or on Steam Store, which is normally not a very large text, and I just can provide that some sort of a value to my potential customer and to show them that I am actually able to translate this kind of games. Also, I keep track of all my projects. I keep track of all my projects on a spreadsheet file. And whenever I try to reach out to a customer who is a good fit for me professionally, like a video game company or like a translation agency who specializes in video games, I just send them a link to this file, and they can really see how much work I do in a specific area and in a specific field, and it really helps me to forge a strong relationship with the potential client. Of course, it not always works this way. Some people are not interested in your services. Some people tell you off the bat that they already have a different translator who's handling their needs. You just have to be very persistent, and you just have to keep going forward. And to be honest, I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at being consistent. So that's my current struggle as a entrepreneur and as a freelance translator. But yeah, email. I think email is probably the best way of reaching out to clients. Of course, there are other activities like, for example, blogging or having a personal website. But in order for a personal website to work as a great tool to attract clients, your website gotta have some spectacular copy that is focused on your dream clients. And at the moment, I have to admit that my website is not ideal. It looks great, it functions great, but I really need to rewrite a whole bunch of my copy because it's not targeted at the kind of client I'm seeking after. Yeah. So email, website, and probably a little bit of blogging and networking with other translators. For example, I just got a tiny project thanks to my networking skills. I don't know if you can call this way. A person who is a member of the open mic reached out to me, and he's an Italian translator who specializes in video games. And he said that he just visited my profile and he realized that I'm also specializing in video games. And since he knows me from the open mic and from the community and from the effort I'm putting into the networking part of this, he offered me to work with him on a project because his end client has a need for a Russian translator. He did the Italian translation himself, and he offered Russian translators to me. So it kind of worked very great for both of us. It was a very tiny project, but still, it's a good start.
We got a great question from Ale. She asks, has anyone told you to lower your rates, and how do you handle it?
Yeah, a bunch of times. I think it mostly happens with translation agencies, and I handle it. I refused. I refused, and I lost the last line. that was what happened. It happened a couple of times. Because I try to be very generous with my rates, both for myself and for my clients, because the biggest struggle for me as an English-Russian translator is that I'm an English-Russian translator. A lot of Russian translators, they live in an entirely different world. They live in Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and those countries. They have a different life
Cost of living.
Cost of living. Yeah. So an excellent translator can afford to be charging, for example, I don't know, 5 or 6 cents per word while living in Russia, and I cannot afford that. I cannot afford it because I live in Canada. So this is a struggle. This is a challenge for me as a translator because I need to figure out a way how to get clients who are here in Canada or in US or maybe in Europe and who can actually afford paying for my services. And of course, I have to show some extra value by providing a superior customer service or by being responsive or just by being better at what I do. So yeah, but when someone asks me to lower my rates, I cannot do it because it doesn't make any business sense. It doesn't make any sense for me to be charging less than I need in order to support my family and to support myself. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great position. The next question is also work related, but from a little different field. Steve Vitek, I don't see Steve among our viewers, so I'll probably ask his question. He's asking, do you use cat tools and machine translation or not? Do you have an idea as to what is the percentage of translators who use cats and who don't more than 10 years after their introduction?
I use cat tools. I use them a lot. Even though I work in creative field, I kind of find them useful because sometimes in video game localization, you have to work with a lot of strings that are repeated, like, for example, repeated names of items or like menu items. So in those cases, cat tools are very, very helpful. But from my experience, they don't really help me to reduce the volume of work I do. They just simply there for me to show me how many words I have, what's my productivity, how many words I translated, and how many matches I have. But most of the projects I work on, they don't have that many matches. And most of my clients, actually, including agency clients, they don't really request any discounts on matches, which is very a very popular topic when working with cat tools. Because most of the translations that I work with, they are just creative text, like a piece of a story or dialogues. And even though I still use cat tools for them, because I got used to to using cat tools. The only thing that I find very helpful when using cat tools, and that I can build my own term base, and this helps me a lot, especially when dealing with a text that that has a lot of terminology. For example, today I was translating a video game about space, and there are a lot of military style terminology in this kind of translation, and I need to keep, as a translator, I have to keep it consistent. So by creating my own term base, I kind of create a list of all the terms that I have in my document. And when I just move from one segment to another segment, I see the term base that highlights the terminology, so I don't have to learn it by heart or remember it every time I see this. It kind of makes it seem lazy, but I think that's where this is where technology serves the translator by helping him to simplify the work he does.
Yeah.
And talking about machine translation, I think I have it enabled in MemaQ. I use MemaQ, but I don't really rely on it that much. So most of the time, my texts are so creative and so difficult for a machine to comprehend that the end result is just poorly written, and the only thing you can use it for is just get a grasp or a basic idea of the text, or maybe just quickly look at possible translations of some terms you can see in the source document, but you cannot really use it to simplify your process or to speed up things. The only way it helps is when I have to translate something very simple, like, for example, days of the week or days of the month, something like that normally you see in kind of different texts. But for creative text, I think machine translation has still a long way to go, and especially in our language, in English and Russian, because Russian is so flexible and so hard. It is basically one of the hardest languages, along with some Asian languages, and for machine to be able to fully translate it as if it was translated by a human being, I think we'll have plenty of work on our plates for many decades before it will happen. And at least in creative field, I don't know about technical field. I've read a couple of articles lately that technical field, this is where machine translation have advanced the most advancement, because probably of the structure of the language and the repetitive structure of technical texts. But creative field is pretty safe, as it seems to me, at least.
The interesting thing is that Steve is working in patent translation, and he says that he can't make any use of CAT tools and machine translation for his work. And
well,
I don't think that patents. From my point of view, I don't know very much about patents, but for me, patents are rather technical texts.
You see, patents can be very creative sometimes. I had to translate a couple of patents in the past. They could be very creative in the way they describe the technology, because a patent is basically a technology that doesn't exist, and they're trying to describe it using the existing notions. So, and many times the technology that is being described doesn't exist. Terminology for this doesn't exist, so machine cannot know it.
True.
How to translate it. So in order to be able to be a great pattern translator, you got to understand technology field in general. You got to understand how things work, and you got to understand how you can describe something complex in your own language by using your knowledge from your brain. And machine doesn't have a brain.
That's right. Do you think many translators are using cat tools nowadays?
Yeah, I think they do. And I think the share of people who are using translation tools will only grow in the future. Okay, we have another guest trying to call in.
And that's perfect timing, Simon, because I wanted to ask you to call in.
Okay, that's great. So hi guys, how are you doing?
We're doing great. Thank you for calling. How are you?
I'm fine too. So it's a bit late in my time zone, but anyway, I decided to join in this conversation, and I would like to ask you a couple of questions. Also, continuing the topic of CAD tools. So how many CAD tools do you use, and what is your favorite one, Dmitry?
Just one. Thank you. Yeah, I tried Stratus in the past. This was my first CAD tool that I have discovered CAD tools by using Stratus 2007 or something. I think it was integrated into Word or something like that. I don't remember what was the version. So it was kind of built into Office, Microsoft Office Word. Yeah. But then I moved to MemoQ because of all the CAD tools I tried, this is probably the one that really stuck to me. It was really easy to use, and it just had all the features I needed.
That's great. So then another question, and it's about the project management. So how do you handle with your projects? Do you have any database or probably some CRM even for your clients and projects together?
Well, actually, I just wrote an article on the open mic where I explained my whole project management workflow, and I kind of encourage people to share their own, but no one has left any comments yet. That makes me sad.
Probably yours is the best one.
Yeah, but my project management workflow is very simple. I use a tool called Translation Office 3000. I think it was developed by Russian developers. I might be mistaken. A lot of people tend to hate it because it has very complicated user interface and it's not very user friendly. I was just reading a forum thread on pros.com. A lot of people seem to complain about the interface and the way it works, but I kind of learned how to use it by spending a couple of hours, and now I use it all the time. When a new client reaches out to me, I create a client profile in this piece of software. And basically, after that, I can create quotes, I can create projects, I can create invoices, I can generate PDFs and send those documents to my clients. I also create a separate folder on my computer for each and every single client. So every single client I have has a folder on my computer. That folder includes all my work by month. So many folders for each month, and the month folders have all my projects by date. So then I divide it into the source files and the target files, my translations. So when I prepare my project in the software in TO 3000, and after my client confirms, I just move to the translation part, which is the fun part, as I call it. And I work in MemoQ, I translate documents, and then I deliver my documents along with my invoice. I normally send my invoices after I complete the project or before I started the project. It all depends on the client. If I have a new client who found me somehow from my website or through a referral, I normally ask for advance payment because I think this is the best business practice to protect yourself from a fraud, something like that. Sometimes people refuse to pay, and well, that's their choice. But I prefer to be protected and to ask payments in advance from people I don't know. Of course, it's very complicated for online business to be able to collect payments in
That means
advance,
people
especially
can be sure that you will deliver the work.
yeah. So that's why you gotta invest a lot of time and energy into building an online presence and a great website that functions and looks like it's a legit business, if you can call it that way.
Like,
I even want to be able to develop my website even furthermore to allow my clients to pay on my website directly, not through PayPal or something like that. But that's a very complicated task, and it requires a lot of research and skills. But I think this is something.
Payment gateways on the website is a rather complicated thing, and if you use third-party solutions, it will cost you, for example, from 5 to 10% from the deals, actually.
Yeah.
And that's not a good case.
So
that's nice. It seems to me that I have to play with notifications from the open mic, because I'm missing some of the articles, and actually I didn't have much time over the last 2 weeks to.
That's okay. That's okay.
Sorry for that. And probably the last question from me. So I have prepared several, and that would be the last one. So how many hours do you spend for translation only per day, just on the average?
On the average, I'd say 4 or 5 hours translating.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on how many projects I have. Sometimes I might be working 12 or 14 hours a day just translating, because even though I seem like a very successful person, I don't know why people keep calling me like a successful freelancer. I like every single freelancer, I go through feast and famine cycles. Like, for example, this May was a famine cycle, so I didn't have much work, but June shapes up to be a very busy month for me. I got a couple of ongoing large projects, so I'll probably spend more time translating than doing other things like the open mic development or social networks. Yeah. But on average, if I look at my past experience, on average, I'd say I translate at least 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Oh, that's great. So, and another 3 hours of regular working day, are you spending them for marketing or something, finding new connections, building your website, and so on? Yes.
Yes, I try to focus on a whole bunch of different things. For example, I have the open mic now, which also takes a great deal of my time, takes a lot of time. Sometimes it takes too much time, so it even gets in the way of my work, because I noticed very strange thing. I tend to be more creative. I mean, in terms of generating new ideas for the open mic or my other side projects like Webin Translators. When I have a lot of work, when I have a lot of work from my clients, when I'm super busy, when I have so much work to do, I cannot focus on it. I keep generating these crazy ideas for the open mic or for my other projects, and sometimes I just end up spending a whole day on the open mic building something or changing things, only to realize that deadline is soon, so I need to switch immediately to workers on close everything on my computer, close all the tabs, eliminate all the distractions.
I think there's a word for it. It starts with a P. And it's procrastination.
Or priorities.
Yeah, could be that too.
That's better.
Yeah, I need to learn how to set my priorities straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love my clients, and they are always my priority. So if they're listening to this, guys, I'm your guy. You are on my first page of my to-do list every morning. But they know it. They know it. I try to keep my relationship with clients very casual and fun. Sometimes we can send gifts to each other.
So it's great when you have such kind of relationship with your client.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dmitry, for your answers. It seems to me that other people are going to call in too, and
yeah,
I have to say bye-bye.
Thank you for calling in and for your questions, Simon. It was nice seeing you.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you.
The next question I will ask is from Eugenia Durante. She couldn't join us today, and she has a very interesting question. If you had to change your job, what's the thing you would miss the most of being a translator?
Well, being creative in what I do. This is what defines us as translators. We are very creative people, and we know the language, and we know how to transform one language into another. And I think it's kind of a gift, and not every person can do this. Not every person who speaks languages can be a translator. Like not every person who knows how to write can be a writer. So if I had to move to other fields, and I think the thing that I would miss the most is the creativity that is involved in the translation process.
That's great. This is probably something I would also miss if I had to change a job. But you could choose something creative, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of other freelance jobs that can be quite great. I think every job has a certain degree of creativity. If you look at designers or web developers, all those people have very creative jobs, and they have to generate something very creative on every single day. So, but yeah, working with the language, I think it's fun and it's exciting, and
it's probably a different type of creativity, I would say.
Yeah, different type of creativity. It definitely requires different skill sets, and probably tickles a different part of your brain every time you translate something.
Yeah. Next, I would like to ask Rafa if she would join us, and could you please call in, because your two questions are a perfect way to get to our next topic, which is the open mic. Would you like to call in, Rafa? Yeah.
Yes, just going in. Yay.
I love when people calling in.
We should do this more often.
Yeah.
From now on, everyone should call in.
Yeah. You see, it's not scary and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, seems like Rafa is trying to connect, but we cannot see her at the moment. All right, let's try again. Yeah, there's the beauty of Blab as a live streaming platform. Not always everything is perfect. Well, it seems like
I will have to read your questions out loud, but there's still a perfect way to pass on to our next topic. So Rafa's first question is, has living in Canada affected the amount or the type of projects you receive? Are there many Russian companies with branches in Canada, or are there many Canadian businesses interested in reaching Russian-speaking companies' customers?
Yeah, moving to Canada definitely affected my clientele. I basically lost all of my clients that I had when I was living in Russia and Ukraine. In the first few years in Canada, this only happens because I moved to a different economy, to a different country. Cost of living were much higher than back when I was living in Ukraine or Russia. And my previous clients, they were great clients, but we couldn't continue our collaboration because I had to increase my rates by a tremendous amount. Because back when I was living in Russia, I think my average rate would be something around 2, 3, 4 cents per word. Nowadays, I need to be making at least 12 cents a word. And many Russian companies, especially translation agencies, they simply cannot afford to be paying those kinds of money when they can find someone locally in Russia or Ukraine. So I kind of lost all of my clients. I didn't have many direct clients back then. I was working mostly with the agency. So when I moved to Canada, I had to start from scratch. So I was selling a whole bunch of emails to translation agencies or to companies, and slowly but steadily, I was building my my client base who would be able to afford my services. Of course, I wasn't able to set high rates straight from the beginning. Since I moved to Canada, I still had to work at very low rates just so I had something to do. So I basically had a job, because when I moved to Canada, my wife wasn't working. She was in school, so she had to study English first. Then she went to college. So she didn't have a job at first. So I had to support my family, and I basically had to take every project I could, no matter how difficult or how complicated or how cheap or how expensive. For at least for the first few years in Canada, I was taking all kinds of projects that were coming my way. I didn't make any distinction. Sometimes I work at nights. I worked a lot at nights. I worked during the day. I worked on weekends. I worked very crazy hours just so I could, make a living by living in Toronto, which is one of the most expensive cities in Canada, and I guess in the whole North America. So yeah, but slowly and steadily I was building my client base. I was figuring out ways how to find new clients, how to increase my rates, and I was little by little I was increasing my rates with every single new client. So, and all the time I lost my clients who couldn't afford my rates increase. So right now, I would say that I don't have that many clients at the moment. Maybe around 15, 20 regular clients who keep coming for my services every single month, or at least once in every 2 months, and probably 20 more of occasional clients who kind of pop up in your inbox every once in a blue moon and then disappear, and then they come back. Yeah, plus also getting some referrals from my website or referrals through networking or blogging. Or yeah, it's a slow process, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun.
Pays off.
Building your client base is definitely not something that will happen overnight, and it's definitely a lifelong process. And I guess I just hope that I'll be able to keep doing what I'm doing. I'll be able to afford to live in Canada and to support my family by doing what I love.
And that's a great thing, when you can support your family and make money by doing what you love. I think it's many people can only dream about that, and some of us, I think many translators live those dreams, and I think that's great.
One important thing I want to say, I gotta give credit to my wife. I know she's watching me right now because she's at work, but I gotta give her credit because she's the most supportive and amazing woman in my life, and I wouldn't be able to do anything, both for my business or in my life, without her support and continuous encouragement. So thank you so much, honey. I love you.
I'm so glad she's watching us. I just wanted to know somehow if she's watching.
She's giving me props.
I knew that it would be probably something that she would enjoy. I would enjoy an interview with my husband anyway.
She's actually one of my biggest critics. She's one of my biggest critics. She hates those earphones. I don't know why. She hates them. She says they're too big. They don't look professional, and that my face is too close. The lighting is all wrong in this room.
you should probably make it all better by season 2.
Yeah,
right?
I said this is a long process, honey. This is the season 1. What do you expect? We learn on the fly, so we will probably change a whole bunch of things in the next seasons, hopefully.
Yeah. So we are moving to our next topic of our today's conversation, and that's the open mic. And Rafa's second question is, she would like to know how the idea for the open mic came to be. She remembers reading your post about it back then, but it would be nice just to hear you talking about it a little.
Yeah, so one day, one of my colleagues, Olga Reinhold, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I really like your blog at bestrussiantranslator.com. I like the things that you write about. Can I publish a guest blog post on your blog?" And I said, "Okay." I was very flattered that she reached out to me and decided to offer to publish a guest blog post. But it kind of started. I kind of got me thinking, why would we need to reach out to other bloggers or other people who have websites to be able to express our ideas or to share something that we want to talk about, write about? So why can't we build a platform or a community where all of us would be able to share anything we like about our profession, and other translators and people of our industry would be able to read it in one single place? So I kind of came up with this idea of a blogging community for translators, and then I decided I just want to build it. And I started building it on the 31st of July of last year. I registered a domain name for the open mic, theopenmic.co, and I started building a WordPress site, which now has, I think, 1,500 registered members, and about 10,000 monthly visitors who come to our website to read stories or write stories. We have 100 of authors, people who actually publish something on the open mic, and I'm really blown away by the support of the community. I think that my skills alone, like my web development skills, which I picked up when I was building my professional website, they wouldn't work alone without the support of the translation community and the support of the people who loved the idea, who decided to register, who decided to publish articles. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's using open mic. Even though you're not an active member, even if you just read stories there, you still help me to build and create something awesome and interesting. So and when I build the open mic, I also try to focus on a bigger picture, because I understand that this is a community and people will be looking up to it, and people probably would expect big things from it in the future. So I'm also trying to think about what kind of community it can become in the future. And one of the driving forces of me building the open mic was actually my frustration with the existing communities for translators, and the fact that we don't have that many communities actually. Well, we have pros.com. I guess we have Translators Cafe, and we have hundreds of different Facebook and LinkedIn groups, and some of them are fantastic, like Things Translators Never Say, or Standing Out, or some other groups. I can remember names, but those are the groups that stand out the most among all the communities. So they are actually like communities, but I want to build something that would be visible everywhere, not just on some certain social networks. For example, something that would be able to promote our profession like globally, if you can say so. For example, everything you write on the open mic can be found online, so it helps to both to promote the image of our profession when we write about something that bothers us, or something that we would like to talk about, but it also helps you to be able to promote yourself as a freelance translator by showing consistently that you care about the profession and that you write about it and that you try to bring some sort of value. The kind of value I'm trying to bring. I'm mostly a developer guy, so if you talk about the open mic, so most of my tasks there are maintenance, like technical stuff, keeping an eye on our server, making sure it can deal with loads, that everything works fast, and developing new features and trying to listen to the thoughts of the community and the people who like the idea of the open mic and building new cool features. Yeah, but I want to be able to build a great community where people would just have a lot of fun and would enjoy being the members of those communities. And I want to try to make it free for everyone, so that anyone could join and enjoy the open mic atmosphere. A lot of people actually who joined the community, they say that they were this is what was missing for them in other communities. So they appreciate the free thought spirit that anyone can share in their own words. They can talk about anything. Anyone can publish a story, and all stories are so different. All writers are so different. All every single blog post is not identical to the other posts. So it gives you the ability to kind of to walk through the whole. I don't know how to say it. It gives you a perspective of the whole
professional
industry or
yeah.
the whole profession. Yeah, how other people feel or think about our profession and what they have to say. And I think it's an excellent platform for those people who love reading and writing and sharing information.
The next question is from Tessuiti, and it is actually connected with the people who you made the platform for. How can translators make the most out of Blabbing Translators and open mic? Tess is asking about both Blabbing Translators and open mic, and I actually think that the thing that people can do to make the most might be similar.
Well, it's kind of hard to define the most, so, because every single person has a different goal. Every single member of the or reader or writer of the open mic, they have different goals. So the open mic has a variety of elements. I think I particularly love that you can publish instantly without moderation. Of course, it's complicated for me as the founder of the platform, because I really need to keep an eye on the posts to make sure that they don't violate site rules, because we have site rules. But I really like the idea that you can share instantly anything you like, as long as it relates to our profession. So this is the most valuable aspect for me as a translator, because I get this instant access to a community that was built and focused only on translators. And most of the translators that I know, at least, they kind of, when they write for other translators. For example, we write articles about translation rates, we write articles about translation technology. So it kind of makes sense to have a community where all those people can hang out in one place, like the open mic. And this is the most valuable aspect of the open mic for me, because it's like what I used to call a knowledge temple, where people can actually go and spend hours simply by reading, or like Elena often say that you go from one article to another, and you can just spend hours
it's
and hours.
It's hard to stop.
Yeah, it's very, very addictive. But there are other aspects of the open mic that are still probably, I can say that they're in development, but I also want to kind of turn it into a professional community. Because the only professional community that online community that we have now, I think it's pros.com, and a lot of people tend to hate it. I don't really hate it. I wrote a large article about my relationship with prose. I used to be a very active member. I used to participate in all the job bidding, but then I kind of got disappointed or frustrated because my career wasn't moving the way I wanted to move. I couldn't increase my rates and stuff like that. And a lot of people blame job bidding for that. So I want to try to build some sort of alternative, a place where professional translators could showcase their skills by showing their writing skills as bloggers, or by talking about a profession as writers. Because for a translator to showcase his skill, it's probably the only way to do this is by writing, or maybe by talking. I don't know how else you can show the comprehension of language, right? And we talked a lot about this with some of our members, that when people write something and they put it out there for everyone to see, they're actually promoting themselves as translators, and they're promoting themselves, they're promoting their skills, their writing skills. So I think this aspect, together with the profiles that we have for each and every single member, which in my opinion look very good compared to compared to what we have on other communities. And I think in the future, at least I hope in the future, that people who are looking for translators, somehow they would find the open mic and they would be able to connect with them easily without any kind of job bidding, just by sending a message or by connecting with them on the platform itself. And people actually already started using it as a place to find translators. I got a couple of members who reached out to me and said that translation companies found them on the open mic, and they sent them a message through the open mic, and they became a client. So I think it's great. I think it's great when everything is so simple and it's not difficult to connect with translators. I think professional translators deserve a community where clients, all kinds of clients, can find them and connect with them easily. Without, of course, job bidding wouldn't disappear only because I'm building the open mic. Job bidding will always exist because there are always clients who are want to save money, who are cheap, who want to do things fast, and who couldn't care less about the translation process. But there are a lot of clients who care about the end result. There are a lot of clients who want to work with professionals. There are a lot of clients who want to find great translators, and I just hope that the open mic community would be a nice little place for clients and translators, where we can just all connect and deliver top-notch translation services.
That's great. Next question is from Emeline Jamul. She's asking, brain behind the open
Sorry,
mic.
Elena, I
How
kind
do
of
you
missed
stay
the
motivated in
question.
times of difficulties?
You kind of disappeared for a second. Can you repeat, please? Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me now well? Okay. So the question was, being the only brain behind the open mic, how do you stay motivated in times of difficulties?
I stay motivated by watching a Gary Vaynerchuk video, Overnight Success. Really, yeah, I'm serious. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't work. I think like the open mic idea is stupid and no one's gonna use it, or I'm not satisfied with the results. But when I think about it, I just realize that like every single person craves for overnight success. Every single person wants everything to happen instantly, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't happen that way, and I just need to be patient and just keep doing what I'm doing. So whenever I feel depressed or not satisfied with what I achieved so far, I just watch Gary Vaynerchuk's video Overnight Success. Google it; it's on YouTube, and it's really seriously, it hammers
We'll include it in the
into
show
me
notes.
the idea that you have to work really hard, and that's the only way to keep yourself motivated, by keeping going and working hard, because hard work always pays off, and it always leads to great results and great success. That's the only way it works in life, in business, in anywhere. At least that's how I feel.
I agree with you. The next question, if I had to choose one question from all the questions, the amazing, great questions I got from our past guests, if I had to choose just one that I like the most, probably it would be this question. I would ask Sophia Policreti to call in. Could you do that, Sophia?
Sophia says here.
I'll ask you a great question. I just hope that I believe that when people say something out loud, it just brings some forces of the universe in movement and sets some forces of the universe in movement.
Hi,
I hope
Sophia.
that this
How are you?
question will do just that.
Kind of hot here in Greece. It's 30 degrees right now. And thanks very much for inviting us for this lovely blab with the questions. It's been so much fun. And here's my little contribution here. And I'm asking, let's forget about restrictions of time, of money, or convenience. And tell me, if it was possible to organize the first real-life open mic conference anywhere in the world, which city would you choose and why? That's my question.
That's a great question. I don't know. Why not go on a tour? And visit every single city, or even better, why not organize like events in every single city where people actually had this idea to encourage people to gather together in groups. I mean, the open mic members gather together in their own cities by finding people in their own cities and just getting together. I think it's a great idea of being able to meet in person. To tell you the truth, I have never met other translators in person in my life, except for people I studied with back in the university. But in my professional career, I have never get a chance to visit a conference or go to a different country or city and meet my colleagues. So if I would say what kind of city I would like to hold the first open mic conference, I probably would say Toronto. because
Okay, I've never been to Canada.
I'm very lazy. Second thing, I would save a ton of money by not traveling abroad. And I think we have a lot of translators here and a lot of people from Canada. And Canada is beautiful. Canada is one of the most beautiful countries, both from cultural perspective and both in terms of nature. So I would be happy to organize an event at some point in the future. I hope I would have the energy and skills and the resources to hold this kind of event. And let's hope that at some point it will happen. But yeah, the first city probably would be Toronto.
Very well said. Okay. Okay, I will just hang up now. Thank you for inviting me. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for the question, Sophia, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, Sophia.
Bye.
All right.
The question is a little bit last about Canada being a beautiful country, and the question is from Alexandra Turner. She's asking, why did you decide to move to Canada, and what do you love about living there? Do you think it's a good place to be a freelancer?
Well, us moving to Canada is more of a coincidence than rather something that we were planning to do. Back when I was studying at the university, my wife and we used to travel to United States for summer jobs. Like there was a student exchange program. I think it was called Work and Travel. Yeah, so I participated twice. Once on my own. I used to live in Cincinnati, Ohio, for a whole summer. And next year, my wife and I, back when we were just dating, we moved to Washington, D.C., and we worked as lifeguards at swimming pools. So yeah, and we kind of enjoyed this kind of way of living. We really enjoyed the culture. We because it's a huge difference from what we have in Russia. And when you has this opportunity to be able to live in a different country and really to compare what kind of differences it has to your home country, what kind of advantages and disadvantages, and we kind of try to wait and to understand it, what where we would want to live, and we decided that we probably would want to live in United States after we graduate from our universities. So we graduated and we applied for US visas in order to move there for the summer, like work and travel, and then possibly stay there, hopefully legally. But it didn't work out. My wife, she got a refusal from U.S. embassy, so we decided to stay in Russia. Then we lived in Ukraine for a couple of years. One day, this is true story, as they say it. One day, I was just I opened my spam box, and I saw an email from a travel agency that I used to for this work and travel program, and they were promoting some of their new program for people who would like to go to Canada and study English language. And we kind of decided that this was our ticket, and we started a research, started to figure out how to get a visa, how to apply for this program, and yeah, we just moved to Canada. First, we had to study English language. Even though I had a degree as a translator, I had to go to an English school here in Canada, in Toronto, for 4 months. Yeah, my English teachers, they were shocked then the moment I started talking because this is not the kind of experience you would expect when you're teaching the class to English class to students. You don't expect people to be able to speak in English as fluently as I did. So yeah, but after that we extended our stay by studying at the college. I studied 1 year at George Brown College. I studied small business entrepreneurship, which also helped me to gain more courage and experience, like business experience, and helped me to be more proactive and really set in motion my future development, the future development of my professional career. And my wife studied at George Brown College as an architectural technician for 2 years. So now I have a online business, so to speak, as a translator, and my wife works at their architectural company. Yeah, but we never really planned to go to Canada on purpose. It all happened by chance. I don't know, stars has aligned somehow, and I was lucky to open that email box, and then I wouldn't say we were too lucky, because we were very persistent, and we get a lot of help from my parents. I gotta thank my parents, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to move to Canada. They supported us all the way through. They gave us money. They supported our decision. They even had to sell their apartment so we could move to Canada. Yeah, it was difficult, but I guess I'm glad that I have so many supportive people around me, both in my family and my wife and all of my friends. So I just blessed to have them in my life.
That's a great story, and I know it probably feels really good to live somewhere in a country that you like so much, and that you live somewhere where you enjoy living. And the next question is about a similar thing, but on a slightly. Do you have a favorite place, like a park, a street, or a house? If you do, what is it? So, what is so special about it?
A favorite place. Well, I'd say of all the places I've been to, my favorite place is actually like a whole town, the city of Odessa, back in the Ukraine. This is where I lived for 2 years before we moved in Canada, and it has such amazing, I can't really explain it. It's such an amazing, charming place. It has a beautiful city, beautiful, lots of sites, lots of places to visit, and when I was living there, I didn't feel like you were living. It felt like you were a guest there. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's a charming city, and I loved it. And I would like to visit it one day because it has a lot of good memories. But if you talk about Toronto, we have a very great island here. It's called Toronto Island. It's not far from the downtown. It's actually a small piece of land, but it's very beautiful. You can take a ferry from downtown Toronto, and you're basically in this huge park with lots of trees. You can take a bicycle and ride around this island. They also have a beach, so you can lie on the beach and enjoy the weather, or you can just walk around the park, and it's very beautiful and peaceful. Yeah. Of all the places I've been in Toronto so far, this is one of the most amazing. And of course, there are a lot of amazing natural parks here, like Algonquin Park, which is incredible compared to other parks that I've been to. I haven't been that many though, but this is what I love about Canada most. They really care about nature, because when I used to live in Russia, a lot of people really don't appreciate they probably appreciate the nature, but they don't take a proper care of it. There's a lot of garbage in the forest. Wherever you go, people go on picnics. They throw a whole bunch of garbage and leave it there to rot and to pollute the environment. Parks in Canada are completely opposite of that. They are so pristine, they're so clean, and they have hundreds, if not thousands, of people taking care of them and making sure that we as humans don't violate the nature, don't violate the wildlife. So yeah, it's very beautiful.
Another question from Elena is, if there were no translation profession in the world anymore, what would you be?
Well, I guess I probably would be some sort of a web developer or programmer, because this is or maybe a web designer. This is something I'm passionate about, as you can see from my website or from the open mic, which I built myself without having any kind of skills. I always keep telling everyone that I built the open mic although I'm not a developer, I'm not a website developer, I don't have the skills. I never learned it. I don't have a basic education in web development, but this is something that really excites me because it's very challenging, and I guess I like the challenge of learning new things or of overcoming some difficulties, because every single day that I spend building stuff on the open mic, it's always a challenge, and you always break a whole bunch of stuff. Then you have to fix it. Then you gotta figure out a way how to fix it, and then you became better at it, and you just learn and grow professionally. And if for some reason, I hope this would never happen, but if for some reason our profession would cease to exist, I would probably switch to this kind of area, web development.
It's good to have a plan B, but it's even better not to have to use it, right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that I have a plan B per se, but I just if I had to choose a different profession, this is there I would go probably. Maybe in the future, all those professions will be kind of like combined in my future. I don't know yet.
So probably the next question from Tatiana Struk will fits in here perfectly. Birthday is a perfect time to make wishes. How do you see your projects, your life, and your work in 5 years? No limitations. The bravest dreams are only welcome.
Well, I just hope that 5 years from now, I'll still will be able to be a translator and make money from it. And that because this is of all the things I do a whole bunch of things. I do blogging translators, I do the open mic, I also provide professional translation services to my clients. I think this is the most enjoyable part, being a translator, because I've been doing this for many years, and I've been studying language since I was a kid, and this has been my passion, because a lot of people struggle with finding their passion in life or figuring out who they want to be when they grew up. I never really struggled. It was obvious to me that I want to be somehow connected with languages. So 5 years from now, I still want to be connected with languages. I want to be a translator, and I hope that the projects that I spend time on, like the open mic or blabbing translator, so maybe other projects, I don't know, maybe we could come up with something else. I just hope that they continue to grow, they continue to surprise people, they continue to bring value to the community, and I just hope that 5 years from now they would exist and wouldn't go into abyss and would still exist and grow and prosper. And hopefully bring a lot of value to the profession and change lives, I don't know, of people.
This all sounds great. And another question from Tatiana is, what is your best recipe to recharge your batteries when energy goes low?
Well, when my energy goes low, I normally go to sleep. True, maybe trivial, but true. the best. If you are tired, the best way just give yourself a break. I also like playing video games as a way of recharging myself, because it's completely different type of activity. So when I feel too stressed out or burned out, I just close my laptop. I get my gamepad, which is right here next to me, and I just play a couple of hours just to completely zone out from all the stress, all the difficulties I have, all the life problems, and just focus on something fun and exciting. Or of course you can always go to sleep. You can always go to bed, and it's always better to do things next day than to suffer through a lot of pain or force yourself into, I don't know, stressing out too much, because you can never do all the things in life you want to. You just have to give yourself a break every time and then. So
it's just very difficult to accept that you cannot do. I've heard an expression that goes something like, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So which means that you basically have to choose what's important for you, and then use the power you have and the resources you have wisely.
Yes, absolutely.
We have long passed the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
So yeah, today I hope that everyone is enjoying it as much as I do, and I would like to finish it off with a question from Tess Whitty. Her question was, what is your biggest wish for the future of the translation industry?
My biggest wish for the future of translation industry, I wish that at some point in the future, it would be very simple for people who are looking for translators, find them easily without any difficulties, which is also integrated in my vision for the open mic. But this is what I want for my community and for my profession, because if we look back at all the blog posts we wrote about, we write about in the industry, a lot of people seem to have difficulties with the business side of things, with finding clients, with marketing. I just hope in the future there will be no such thing as problems with finding clients or problems with business side of translation or marketing. I hope that in the future, those skills, business skills, marketing skills, networking skills, if you want to, they would be included in the programs of soon-to-be translators. They would be included in curriculum. I don't know if this is possible, but I hope that in the future that when you graduate from a university as a translator, you are prepared for this life, and it will be easy for you to adjust without losing too much time. Yeah, so I hope that in the future it will be simple for us to exist, to communicate, and to be doing what we love and to focus on what we love.
I can just say that that would be great. And I also share that dream, if we can call it so.
Yes.
So if anyone wants to ask any other questions or call in, you have a couple of minutes to do so. And while you're making up your mind on whether you want to do it or not, I want to thank everyone who watched this long blab. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, Dmitry, you also enjoyed my... No, it's not mine. It was our birthday present for you, because I couldn't have made it without all our past guests who sent in their amazing questions. I'm really grateful to you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I had a fantastic time today. I think I'm gonna have a sore throat for at least a week after talking so much, because I don't normally talk so much. So thank you for putting me on the spot and giving me the ability to speak up and talk about the things that...
You're most welcome. It was really fun talking to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Now you put me in a very hard position, because I got to figure out the way to pay you back somehow. Yeah, I think I'll need to get very creative. I hate this.
I wrote in the email I sent before our today's blab that I'm sure I will enjoy this talk, and I did enjoy this talk. If you joined us late, then you will be able to watch the beginning of the blab on Sunday. You can go to blabbingtranslators.com and subscribe to our email newsletter so that you won't miss any future blabs. And you could also, at that website, you could also press a big red button saying, I want to be a guest, and join one of our future blabs.
Yes.
And I think that's it for today, right?
Yeah. Yep. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day. Bye.